Knights and Sith Lords, and welcome to Star Wars Artifacts. My name is Dominic, aka Lord Doom, and today we will talk about Artisanal Kyber crystals from Crafted Core. I collect this type of crystals since 2020, and for a little while, they have begun making some special ones that look like some characters. We will focus on those particular ones. Each crystal is sold between 35 and 55 US dollars, or about 48 and 75 Canadian dollars. Each crystal is compatible with a Savvy's Workshop lightsaber, as well as Jedi and Sith holocrons. But the fun thing about those crystals is that they are dual-sided most of the time. Enough talking, let's start the review. On this picture, you can see the 4 crystals corresponding to the 4 Savvy's Workshop teams. The blue and purple correspond to the Peace and Justice team. The white and red correspond to the Power and Control team. The white and green correspond to the Elemental Nature team, and the yellow and purple correspond to the Protection and Defense team. Speaking of this crystal, it was I who got the privilege to choose the 2 colors for the crystal. Crafted Cores even mentioned it on their website. More traditional looking crystals have been made, as you can see on these images. However, as I mentioned it in the intro, I'd rather focus on the most recent crystals, since those were mostly limited edition crystals and are already sold out. Let's begin with the Maul's Defeat crystal. This crystal is black, but on the front we see Maul's skull. When it is inserted in a Savvy's Workshop lightsaber, the blade will light up red on one side and blue on the other. In a Sith holocron, you will hear Maul's voice, and in a Jedi holocron, you will hear Obi-Wan's voice. This crystal was not a limited edition, but doesn't seem to be available anymore on their website. Let's move on with the Solo in Carbonite crystal. This crystal is great, but if you pay attention, you will see Han Solo frozen in carbonite. In a Savvy's Workshop lightsaber, the blade will light up blue on one side and yellow on the other. When placed in a Jedi holocron, you will hear the voice of Luke on one side and Maz Kanata's voice on the other. This crystal was limited to an edition of 124 copies, but the standard version is still available on their website. For the next one, let's go with the Daimyo crystal. This crystal is great, but on the front, we easily recognize Boba Fett. Once inserted in a Savvy's Workshop saber, the blade will shine green on one side and red on the other. In a Jedi holocron, you will hear the voice of Yoda, and in a Sith holocron, you'll hear Vader. This crystal is part of a limited edition of 400 copies, and it is still available on their website. Before we move on to the next crystals, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and smash the like button to help me continue my work. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All the links are available in the description below. Now, let's give ourselves to the dark side with the Dark Emperor crystal. This crystal is black with Darth Sidious's face engraved into it. In a Savvy's Workshop lightsaber, the blade will be red no matter which side you place it. In a Sith holocron, you will hear the voice of Palpatine on one side and of Supreme Leader Snoke on the other. This crystal is part of a limited edition of 400 copies and it is still available on their website. Let's stay on the dark side with the Vader crystal. This crystal is black, and it is sculpted to look like the infamous Sith Lord. In a Savvy's workshop, the blade will light up red on one side and white on the other. In a Sith holocron, you will hear the voice of Darth Vader, and in a Jedi holocron, you will hear the voice of Ahsoka Tano. This crystal was part of a first limited edition of 100 copies, but a second edition is still offered on their website. If we return to the light side of the Force, we have the Ben Hologos crystal. The version I owned was limited to 400 copies and included 2 versions of the crystal and a small metal box equipped with a light and a micro USB port for the charge. The transparent version seems to be made for the box, and the crystal looks very good once the light is turned on. The blue version glows in the dark, and the blade will shine blue or green depending on the side you place it in a Savvy's Workshop saber. You will hear the voices of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn if you place it in a Jedi holocron. Finally, we have the Life Day crystal. The extremities look like wood, and in the middle we see the blue ball frequently seen on Kashyyyk during this celebration. If you place it next to a UV source for a little while, it will glow in the dark. In a Savvy's Workshop saber, the blade will be blue or white depending on the side you place the crystal. In a Jedi holocron, you will hear the voices of Luke Skywalker and Chirrut Imwe. Obviously, those are not products under a Disney license, so Crafted Core need to be careful with how they name their crystals. Nevertheless, I absolutely like the idea of having literally 2 crystals in one, since they work on both sides. I also like the fact that they have begun making crystals dedicated to some characters of the saga. I also want to specify that this video was not sponsored by Crafted Core, and that I paid for every crystal that you saw in this video. Nonetheless, I will put the link for their website in the description below. What do you think of those Artisanal Kyber crystals? Let me know in the comment section below, and while you're at it, let me know which crystal was your favorite. Personally, I think they are amazing. It is fun to display them next to a lightsaber or a statue of a specific character. If you like my content, feel free to share it on your social media. I'll see you next week for another review, and until then, may the Force be with you, always.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.